device. All right, so on the display, you do have the V plus and the V minus, and you have it says VV display on there. On the front of it, you do have the iTaste MVP logo, and on the back of it, you have this little flame vapor thingy, and it says "Taste it, love it." Okay, nothing on the top of it. On the bottom, you do have the labeling for power on and off, output power, and input power. Okay, you do have the power symbol on the button. This is a 510 connection, and it's deep enough for your recessed type devices. Okay, so here is the recessed Stardust type dual coil that comes with it. We can go ahead and screw that on, and you see you get a nice finished look there. Now I have a Vivanova here. Let's go ahead and screw the Vivanova on, and you may not like the way that looks because of the gap. So what you can do is you can use the beauty ring, if you will, and you can screw that on there just like that. Okay, and then you can screw your Vivanova or a similar tank for a more finished look. Now that finished look does come, you pay a price for that because this ring kind of hangs off the side of it a little bit. I don't know what we can do about that. If you move the connection over a little bit, if you make this ring a little bit smaller, I'm not sure, but do note that this does hang over the side a little bit. And this ring, properly designed, because it does have two air holes on it, so you will get airflow no matter how flush sitting your tank is on this ring. Okay. Now you also can use this ring with the included dual coils. So if you like that look better, you can have that look instead. Now, something else to note about this ring here. If you are a dripper and you're worried about over dripping because there is no catch cup here, right? Use this. Even though there's no gasket or rubber seal on the bottom of this, it does protect you from over dripping somewhat. Okay, did a little experiment here with some water. Okay, doesn't get much thinner than that, and it did hold the water around here. So a little bit of protection for you drippers from over dripping by using this ring. All right, now let's talk about that button a little bit, shall we? It's got a great clicky, positive feel to it, and I like that in a button, so you can hear it. Okay, so that's the sound that the button makes, but it is flush mounted. Okay, and you know I am not a fan of flush mounted buttons. However, with this, it's okay for me. Why is that? Because when I pick it up, that button is always in the same place, right? It's not like I have to spin it around to find the button like on a tube mod or a tube stick battery, right? I always know where that button is. Now, I would like to see the button be a trigger button, okay, but it's not. It's on the side. So to press that button, I would have to push my thumb back, so I tend to just hit it with the side of my thumb like that, and it works just fine that way. And you've already seen the different functions of the button. This does have a cutoff. I can go ahead and fire this for a while, and you'll eventually be able to see that cutoff kick in. It is a rather long cutoff, but it will flash, and it will stop firing right there. Okay, so there I just hit the cutoff on this. Let's go ahead and screw the Vivanova in there, and we'll go ahead and take a vape. This is a 2.8 ohm that I measured, and I am running this full out at 5 volts. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a vape. Actually, 5 volts is a little bit too strong for that Vivanova. We'll go down to 4.7, which is actually where I've been vaping it. And that's just terrific. These do come in black. They come in silver. Will they come in additional colors? I don't know the answer to that question. Now, we're going to start getting into some numbers and some tech stuff. We'll talk about price first, and then you guys, if you want to fast forward past the tech stuff, that's fine. This one came directly from Innokin, okay? So they told me their retail price is going to be around $69. I've already seen this, and we talked about it last night, or they were talking about it last night on the VP Live show. Electronic Sticks has these, and they have them for around $59, okay? So that's the price you're going to pay for the entire kit, everything that you saw. We'll talk about vape time. This has a 2600 milliamp hour battery. I was asked last night in the chat to open it up and take a look at the batteries. Now, these do have the caps have screws. I was able to get the bottom cap off a little bit and get some photos in there. It does not appear to be like a round cylinder type battery. It looks like some flat batteries in there. Hopefully you can see some of that from these photos here. Okay, but it is a 2600 milliamp hour battery. What that equated to in vape time for me, my vape pace, was at 4.7 volts with this 2.8 ohm Cardo, I got 29 hours of vape time. Okay, so right around there, right around 29 hours. I ran it a couple times, and that's about what I got. So really rock solid vape time on this. If you have this fully charged, you can go outside, you can go out for the day and be very, very confident that this is going to last you for the full day and into the next day. All right, so that's vape time on the MVP. So now we're going to get into some numbers, okay? The numbers aren't bad on this one. It's not very complicated, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at this shot from the scope. We don't see any cycling going on here. We don't see pulse width modulation on the output. Could be going on inside. Don't know the answer to that one, okay? But the output looks like a flat DC signal. This is the device firing no load at 4.7 volts, okay? And you see it coming out right around here at 4.82 volts, or 4.83. Okay, here's all the information. You can see none of this complicated stuff is filled in because we don't have pulse width modulation on the output. Okay, but there you do see it firing no load, 4.7 volts, and it's firing at 4.82 volts. When we go ahead and add a load to that, okay, it fires at about 4.6 volts. Okay, so right around 4.6 volts. That is with a load, and that load is a 2.8 ohm Vivanova that I just showed you. Okay, so how do the rest of the numbers look? They look really good. Take a look at this chart right here. So I am firing 3 different cartomizers, different resistance levels at 4 different voltages, firing at 3.7 here, 4 volts here, 4.5, and then 5 volts. And I am firing a 1.5 ohm dual coil, a 2.2 ohm single coil, and a 3.1 ohm single coil. Here at 3.7, about a tenth of a volt less than the setting, 3.6, 3.6, 3.6. Here at 4 volts, again, very close, 3.8, 3.9, 3.9. At 5 volts, we start to hit the amp limitation of the switch. The most that I was able to hit that 1.5 dual coil is 4 volts. Here you can see that 4 volt there and that 4 volt there. So that's the amp limitation of the switch. Okay. No issues with the 2.2 and the 3.1 hitting, again, tenth of a volt less, 4.4 volts, 4.4 volts. Here at 5, again, really good, 4.8 volts, 4.8 volts. And then again, you see the amp limitation of the switch kicking in here. Okay, so the highest you're going to be able to fire your 1.5 dual coils is around 4 volts. How did it do with voltage regulation? It did really good there too. Okay, so here's my 4.7 volt setting. Okay, this is no load. Here is the MVP fully charged, firing that 2.8 ohm Cardo. You can see it here, 4.6 volts right there. Okay, and here it is after 27 hours of vape time on it. The screen, the button was showing red, and it's the same voltage. Okay, 4.6 volts. So it did real good with voltage regulation as well. Okay, now some people don't like how some of these devices fire. When you let go of the button, they still fire for just a little bit. Let's go ahead and show you that. You can hear it. Okay, so it does turn off instantly when you let go of that button. And I've been talking for a long time, so I'm going to go ahead and enjoy a vape. All right, so before we get into the thumbs up, thumbs down, let me say this. I have been impressed with this since I first had it in my hand. The looks, the feel, the build quality, the performance. For $59, I think this is a steal, okay? But I got some negatives, and I'm going to be nitpicking a little bit, and I'm going to be giving some of my own personal opinions and preferences in there, but that's what the thumbs up, thumbs down is all about anyway. Okay, so let's talk about some of the potential negatives and things that can make this great device a brilliant device. Okay, first of all, we'll talk about where that button is. I would much rather see it be a trigger button. I think it would be easier to fire, more comfortable. Okay. Adjusting the voltage without having to wait for that puff counter to go away. To be able to hit that button and just start adjusting without having to wait. You know, I got to do that with this all the time, but that's the way this works. It doesn't have a plus and minus button. This one does. I don't want to have to wait for the puff counter. The way that ring hangs off the side a little bit. Okay, again, I'm nitpicking. Okay, but it does, and it makes me a little bit cranky, just a little bit. All right. Let's see. I'd like to see it be full range, okay, all the way up to 6 volts instead of just stopping at 5. That would be nice. For me, it doesn't matter because I'm never anywhere past 5 volts on anything anyway, okay, but for some of you higher voltage vapors out there, that might be helpful for you, okay. It doesn't sit completely flat. That's a function of the on and off for the output power. It sticks out ever so slightly, just a little bit, okay, so when you do sit it on something, it's got just a little bit of wobble there. You see that? Okay, not a big deal. I mean, you can easily put it down real quick and it's not going to fall over, okay? But it just doesn't sit perfectly flat, all right? Again, nitpicking. What else? Okay, this charge cable. I like the way it has the different connections. I like the way you can charge your devices off of this, okay? This is terrific. It's excellent. What would make it brilliant, okay, because if you're out and you have your cell phone or your electronic device, you are probably going to have your PV with you. You are probably going to have your electronic device with you. You may not have the charge cable with you, right? So, some way to make this self-storing in the unit, a pull-out cable or slide-out connections would make great, brilliant, okay, in my humble opinion. And then finally, why, oh why does it not have an ohm meter? Why? It's the one thing that really drives me crazy about this because it's so, it's got everything else. It's just missing that ohm meter, so you're not going to be able to read the resistance level of your attached devices. I did say it's a 510 connection, right? Okay, it is a 510 connection. I'm going to go ahead and vape again. So, those are the thumbs down. Thumbs up, everything else. Build quality, the clarity of the screen, the adjustments, the clicky feel of the button, just the overall look of it, the ring that comes that makes it look better with a tank. The fact that that ring has air holes cut in it, so you're not worrying about your air path. The vape time, 29 hours for me. All right. Everything else. At $59, I think it's a steal. So overall, it does get a very, very strong thumbs up. If it had an ohm meter, it would probably get a thumbs up while I was whistling Zippity Doo-Dah. Okay, but it doesn't. It feels good. It vapes good. I think it's a great price. That's it. The iTaste. MVP. So that's it. That's all I got to say about this. That's it. Nothing else. Move along. Love it.